Good morning, students. We have today Henry's law to discuss, and Henry's law tells us about the solubility of the gas. So, according to this law, at any given temperature, the mass of the gas dissolved by a fixed volume of liquid is directly proportional to the pressure on the surface of liquid. It means to say that when we increase the pressure on the surface of the liquid, we will be able to dissolve more and more gas into it. So the dissolution of gas in this liquid depends upon the amount of pressure exerted on the surface of the liquid. So more the pressure, more will be the solubility of the gas. Then you know that temperature, when we talk about on increasing the temperature, the solubility of the gas will decrease, because when you heat this, we find the dissolved gases coming out. So pressure will increase the solubility, and increasing the temperature will decrease the solubility of the gas. You might have seen that when we heat water or boil water, bubbles are seen on the surface is nothing but the dissolved gases that separates out. Is due to the increase in the temperature. Then another example, a very good example where you find gas dissolved in a liquid under very high pressure is soda water. Very often we term it cold drinks, where carbon dioxide gas is dissolved. And you might have noticed that when you open the cap of the bottle, suddenly with very high pressure the gas comes out, the bubbles comes out, because when we open the cap, suddenly the pressure drops, due to which the solubility of the gas decreases and that gas comes out in the form of bubbles. So this also proves the Henry's law. Next we can come to crystal. Crystals are formed by the process of crystallization, in which we can cool a hot saturated solution. So when you cool a hot saturated solution, we find dissolved solute particles separates out in the form of crystal. A very good example of this is the formation of crystal called misri. In Hindi we call it misri. So for this you have to prepare a hot saturated solution of sugar and put a small thread into it and let that hot saturated solution be cooled for few hours. It is noticed that crystals, sugar crystal, what we call misri, starts depositing on the thread. That's why when you break the misri, what we obtain, what we get from the market, you will find small thread inside. It is because of the process called crystallization to obtain crystals. So crystallization is the process to obtain crystals by cooling a hot saturated solution. So there are few crystals that are natural occurring also. That means naturally they are found in the earth crust. Examples are the colorful stones like ruby, sapphire, then we have diamond. Even sodium chloride is also our natural occurring crystals. They are not prepared. We can prepare it, but they cannot be. They are generally prepared by the nature. It is available on the earth crust. So this process is called crystallization, and there are different methods to obtain crystals. One method we know on cooling a hot saturated solution. But there are few more methods, like when you slowly evaporate the saturated solution, they can also give crystal to it. Then sublimation is another method. Then on cooling of fused mass can also give crystal. Next we have about obtaining large size of copper sulfate crystals. How can we do it? For this we require a hot saturated solution of copper sulfate. And for this you have to take small crystals of copper sulfate, which is called seed crystal. This is called seed crystal. Then this has to be put into the copper sulfate solution and allow it to cool for few hours. It is found that the size of copper sulfate inside the solution increases. The size becomes small. It is because of the crystal of copper sulfate that starts depositing on this seed and slowly it grows the size. So this crystal is called seed crystal, and the process by which we can grow the size of copper sulfate crystal is called seeding. Let us now come to hydrated and anhydrous substance. Hydrated substances are those which contains water of crystallization in it. For example, hydrated substance which contains water of crystallization like Na2CO3, 10H2O. So due to the presence of these water molecules, it makes the substance hydrated. We have copper sulfate pentahydrate, we call it blue vitriol. This is also hydrated substance. There are many such examples. We can have noble salt also, .10H2O. And now when these molecules are removed by any means, then we can change the substance, and the substance without water of crystallization now will be called anhydrous substance. So anhydrous substance which does not contain any water molecules in it. For example, we can change this copper sulfate hydrated substance into anhydrous by removing this water molecule. Now what we get will be copper sulfate is an example of anhydrous substance. So there are many other substances which are anhydrous in nature because they do not contain any water of crystallization in it. Another few examples can be NaCl, sodium chloride, then we have potassium nitrate. So these are few examples of anhydrous substance. Next come to properties of salt. So the first property is efflorescence. So it is the phenomenon by which some salts containing water of crystallization on losing or on exposing to the atmosphere partially or completely loses this water of crystallization, and so slowly it turns into a powder. It loses the crystalline shape and also turn into a powder. This process is called efflorescence, and the substance that shows this property are called efflorescent substance. We have the example like washing soda, Na2CO3, .10H2O. So when it is exposed to dry air, out of 10 it is found that 9 molecules are removed and we get only one molecule left. This process is the efflorescence, and this substance is called efflorescent substance. Same way we have glauber salt. When it is exposed to dry air, it loses all its water of crystallization, and so it also loses the crystalline shape and turns into powder. And next day we will discuss some more properties of salts. Thank you.